It's more primes again. We love primes. We love primes. We love primes. As always, Hepit for Lith, Olympus for Meso, for Neo, and Apollo for Axie. This time around I had a friend join me on some farming, but only for Gyre Prime, which made it somewhat easier on my will to keep farming primes. Here are the lists for the Syndicate Relic Packs, and let's just get this ball rolling. Starting with the Lith G14 on Hepit, we spent 1 hour, 26 minutes getting 10 D7s, only ended up needing 8 of them, so that'll just be plus 10, 8 N18s, 8 E2s, 7 K12s, 7 L7s, 2 Q2s, and finally 5 G14s, so plus 130. Since it is a gold part, I now do rad sharing and recruitment chat because it's getting to be a hassle to do it only on my own, which I think this was established 3 or 4 videos ago. But that also doesn't stop RNG from being terrible. Opening the Lith G14, I got 4 Vardaria receivers, 3 Formas, 1 Lavo chassis, 1 Paris Prime limb, and I assume a random got the relic because I didn't mark down getting the Gyre Prime Neuroptics, nor a plus 10. So, like I said, I'll assume a random got the relic, and 26 randoms also had the relic, so plus 185 to the counter. For the Meso V14, we spent no time on Olympus, and I only opened 1 relic, getting the system's first try. For the Neo T10, we spent 16 minutes, 23 seconds on getting 2 P9s, 2 C6s, 1 K9, D9, and T10. Opening the T10, I got 2 dual Zoran handles, 1 Forma, and a random got the blueprint. 2 randoms had the relic, adding 35. Finally, we went to Apollo for 32 minutes, 50 seconds, getting 4 S18s, 3 Universal Medallions, 3 N13s, 1 P8, Lua Lens, A20, and T13. Opening the T13, I got 1 Burst in Stock and 1 Gyre chassis, with 2 randoms having the relic, adding 15. Overall, it wasn't actually that bad. It was about a B-tier relic farm for Gyre overall. The Lith relic kinda sucked, but that's par for the course. Thankfully, Gyre herself made up for it, except for a couple things I will mention, but that might be just a pet peeve I have. But still, Gyre is an older frame, getting a prime, so we won't go over her ability kit like I did with Noko. I haven't used Gyre that much before this, just leveling her up for mastery, but using her for this video and seeing some of the things she can do, I really enjoy her actually. Especially all of the electricity she can spread with her 1 and 4. Her 3 giving her so much crit chance on her weapons and abilities, and energy regen, and as long as you kill something it can practically last forever. Her 2 being a crowd control as well, being able to pull in things and do electricity damage. She has a niche of being the electric damage frame, and she does it well. Pair her with an electric weapon for her passive and I think she's amazing. But 2 things. Her throwing out her 1 and 2 in other enemy types that aren't Corpus. When using her 1 or 2, she throws it with her left hand, so unless you switch sides, it kinda feels off to me. Same with where you aim where you're throwing it. Because her 1 arcs a bit downward, so I end up missing where I actually want to throw it pretty easily most of the time. It could also just be a skill issue, but with her 2, it rolls across the floor and could easily hit something and not go where you actually want it to go and bounce off into oblivion. Again, that could also be a skill issue. Regardless, I also don't know how well she does with enemies that aren't Corpus, but from fighting the Thrax guys, I'm not too confident about her there. One thing I did think of just now as I am recording this is she doesn't really have survivability either besides being able to stun people with her 1 and electricity in general, but she doesn't really have a survival ability. You could probably assume her 2, but overall, I think she's a B to A frame, but probably an A because I honestly really like her. For the Alternox, I spent a bit more time on it because one piece was being a little bit stingy. So, starting with the Lith N18, I didn't need to farm it. I only opened it and got 2 Bronco blueprints, 2 Formas, 1 Quasis blueprint, and 1 Brayton stock. A random got the barrel, and 5 randoms had the relic, adding 65 to the counter. For the Meso A9, I went to Olympus for 29 minutes, 28 seconds, and got 3 Y1s, and 1 X1, V13, P17, and A9, adding 25. Opening them, I got 1 Venato blueprint, and a random got the Alternox stock, with 3 randoms having the relic, adding 30 to the counter. For the Neo P9, I had to go to and spent 2 hours, 42 minutes, and 42 seconds, getting 10 C6s, 7 T10s, 6 O3s, 6 D9s, 4 C7s, and 5 P9s and K9s, with 1 universal medallion in there, adding 170. Opening it, I got 2 Fang blueprints, 2 pair of strings, 1 Orthos blade, 1 epitaph barrel, and finally, the Alternox receiver. 2 randoms had the relic, adding 40. Lastly, the Axie A20. I opened one, got the Larval Sneuroptic, and a random got the blueprint with 3 randoms having the relic, so plus 20. Overall, not too shabby either. A bit of time and unluckiness for the Neo relic, but the golds, thanks to other people's luck, was pretty nice. So, B tier. However, it still is the Alternox. This time around, I think it does actually have more potential, now that I've learned a little bit more about the game. It does boast a lot more damage potential than its normal counterpart, having 40 status chance now and a higher mag size. It has more crit chance and a higher fire rate as well. It is still the Alternox though, only strictly doing electric damage and having an alt fire that's really not that great. But it'll still be 1 to 2 tiers above its normal counterpart because I think it did improve that much, but it's still the Alternox, so I'm not going to go higher than B. Last prime of the video, and I didn't need to farm anymore. I had enough luck and relics from the prior ones. So starting off with the Lith D7, I got 1 Kestrel Prime Blade, and something else that I didn't write down and forgot about. But a random got the other blade I needed, and 6 randoms had the relic, so 45 to the counter. Opening the Meso P17, I got 1 Uriel blueprint and 1 Kestrel blueprint, adding 5. And for the final relic of the video, the Neo K9. I got the grip first try, with 3 Mother Freakers also having the relic, adding 15. I'm tempted to put this one in S, but I'm not so sure because it is a prime, so A tier it goes. But it certainly will not get A tier in my eyes for potential because I don't like thrown melees at all, even the Glaive Prime. As a matter of fact, I barely even know what makes either of them good. Their stances suck, you can't hold down your melee button to keep meleeing because it'll throw it, and unless you aim right at an enemy, it'll bounce around and hit nothing. And even if it hits an enemy, it may or may not hit another. You're locked out of movements such as the slam and slide melee if you throw it until it comes back. And sometimes you'll get an animation locked into the throw animation instead of the melee combo itself. I guess the plus side is you can use your secondary as well and throw it for extra damage, but like, switching is so instant that I don't really count that as a plus. But the Kestrel itself has good stats and attacks fast. A 40% status chance on melee and thrown, a 20% crit on melee and 22% crit on throw. Charging your throw increases the crit and damage. Overall, unless I can be convinced with thrown melee builds by any of you guys, I personally think this thing is a D or F. I'd rather run almost any other melee weapon in the game. Almost any other melee weapon. In order to have access to getting Uriel, you need to do the Old Peace quest, which takes about 2 hours roughly. Then you'll have access to the Descendia. And how the Descendia works is essentially, there's 21 floors, and each floor has a different objective for the week that you have to complete in order to go to the next floor. It's decently hard on normal, and you have no self-revives. Each floor has containers that has a chance to drop the pity currency as well. But at some point, we only care about floor 21, which is where Roth, the proto-frame for Uriel, is. Our goal? Kill him and get the reward, baby. It takes about 1.5 minutes per kill because, yeah, he also only drops Uriel and Vinquibus blueprints. So, 8 items. And I believe they all have the same drop chance because I don't see a drop chance table on the website. And I don't assume Steel Path will alter the drop chances if they're all the same anyway. That being established, I got 2 Vinquibus barrels, 2 Vinquibus blueprints, 2 Vinquibus stocks, 2 Vinquibus blades, 1 Vinquibus receiver, Uriel neuroptic, and Uriel system. I pitied the chassis, so plus 10. In total, adding 55. Now, it would be S tier if that was it, but no. You need materials, and since there's a whole new place called the I think it's Pertia Rebellion, to go kill things. So, defeat the enemies in there to drop their materials so that you can pick them up and craft Uriel. The amount that Uriel needs is as follows: 1,975 Agnovi discs, 880 Laudavi, and 350 Servois. That is the materials from common to rare, which overall took me 48 minutes to get it all with a resource booster. So if I didn't have one, it probably would have taken me an hour and a half, especially since you can only stay in the mission for 12 minutes at a time. But it does get progressively easier the more you play it as you stay in there, so if you're a god gamer, you'll get more. If not, you'll still be somewhat fine. Is the farm still in S tier? I kinda wanna say yes. 21 floors of Descendia really isn't that bad. Killing Uriel isn't bad either. And just going through an easy mission for an hour and a half to get materials also isn't bad. So yeah, S tier for Uriel. And to be honest, that's where he's going on my potential tier list as well, because hot damn is this guy insanely fun and nutty. Let's start with his passive, since that helps his entire kit and his 4. Uriel gets 3 demons, Katanok, Golfagor, and I think Vithalis? Vithalis. Katanok chains people together so they all share the damage, kinda like Cooler Rose 3, albeit not really that great at all because of its requirements. Golfagor latches onto a guy, becoming invincible and dealing damage for 10 seconds. If killed, the enemy drops a pool of fire and health and energy orbs. The pool of fire also lasts for 10 seconds, dealing, well, heat damage obviously. It can also proc when you kill the enemy that Golfagor latches onto as well. The last demon, Vithalis, goes to a corpse every 12 seconds and does a ritual on it, dropping a demonium orb that, if picked up, increases your fire rate and gives you heat damage that scales off of your strength. Now that his passive is out of the way, what are his abilities? His 1 surrounds him in fire, inflicting damage and the status effect in a certain radius around you. And if you dodge in the air, you can just fly. You could just fly anywhere, wherever you want to go. It's kinda dumb. His 2 heals his demons, and if any of them are dead, they resurrect. His 3 sends out the souls of his demons to be heat-seeking missiles that explode on contact. The explosion renders the enemy more vulnerable to damage. And finally, in my opinion, the most beautiful ability in the game, Brimstone. When actively utilizing your demon's powers, you charge up this meter below their health bars. Once full, you can cast Brimstone, your 4. In a large area around you, you and your demons summon a large ring of fire that ticks down enemies with heat damage, and it also has a damage cap. I think he's nuts, and something I usually don't do in these videos is go into Steel Path, but I just got very curious and did. Put a reactor on him and just went into there. And albeit it wasn't that long that I stayed in there or level cap at all, man, he just did so much, and I had so much fun that I actually just didn't want to stop playing that match. The only thing I think I really want to criticize at all is not being able to forcefully command my demons to do the moves that they have so I can charge up Brimstone more. But after reading the wiki, I kinda understand why. And it's mainly the chaining demon, because he only does it in a 6-meter radius, and if there's at least 2 more enemies 15 meters away from the initial enemy he's going to chain. The second guy kind of just latches on whenever and to whomever, and the third guy does it every 12 seconds. So to me, I think the 1 is a safe subsume if you want a survivability option in longer missions that isn't just, murdering everything, or, fire CC, and if you don't care about the movement that the 1 offers as well. But overall, I really like his kit, and I also made him look icy. Again, I think he's S tier. You get the gun by doing the teacher quest, and the quest is alright. The electric magnetic stuff was kinda whack, but overall it's a decent starter to modding. Could be better though. S tier, by the way, if it's that easy. And for its potential, it's decent. It's a new player gun designed to be a new player gun, so it's not going to be disgusting like some other weapons you can get later on, but for what it is and its purpose, I don't think it's terrible. It's got a good magazine size for a burst rifle, good status chance, a crit chance that kinda sucks balls, but also not very high damage overall. Still, would I run this over anything else I currently have in my arsenal? No, not really. But is it terrible? No. So, D to C tier. Another video completed, and back onto the secondaries, thank God. After the Inquibus, of course. But since the last video, I've done 630 reps of exercise, now totaling 3,520 on the counter. The next video is going to be the Inquibus, the Latum, the Lato Vandal, the Onos, and the Prisma Twin Gremlins. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care of yourself.